Welcome back, everyone, to the Project Nodenium server. Today, we are starting out in our base area, and we've got the island that we worked on in the last episode behind us. We are going to be doing a couple of different projects today, including some more work in our base. So let's go ahead and get started with the episode. In today's episode, we do have a big project that I want to work on, but before we get to the project, I wanted to recap a little meeting that we had as a server, which we held in the town hall. As it was a server-wide meeting, a lot of the different members showed up and were able to participate, and it was a lot of fun getting to see everyone and get in on all of the topics. Some topics got a lot more interest from the members than others, but in the end, there was quite the celebration. But to make sure everyone decided to leave on time, a warden was dropped in and everyone promptly left. After I head back to my base, I got started with some digging to make room for the project that we're going to be working on. And so I was able to get quite a bit done in all of the digging that I did. And in the end, we will have plenty of room for this project. So now that we've got the recap completed, let's get back to the episode. I've finished getting all of the digging done, and I think now we are just about ready to start building here. So the idea behind this space is that we're going to use this to be our storage room because we don't want to have a bunch of chests here just in the middle. And so what I think that the design is going to be is around the exterior wall, we're going to have several rooms going all the way up that will have different items in them. And then going up on the outside of those rooms is going to be a ramp. So that's kind of the idea for the design that I have for this room. But before we get to the building, while I was doing some digging, there were a little server shenanigans going on. So let's take a look at those. There I was just digging along, minding my own business, when I suddenly noticed some items that appeared out of nowhere. And these items were some magma cream, which doesn't normally appear in the overworld, so I was a little bit confused. I went back to digging and just was more aware of my surroundings, looking around occasionally just to see if I was missing something, when suddenly more items fell from the sky and landed right in front of me, and it was just a bunch of bones. Now that was unusual, so I picked them up and I was getting ready to do something with them when one of the server members showed up and claimed that he had lost his spine and was wondering if I found it. Well, I gave him the bones. He was very excited about it, said that was his spine, and he left. But I think he was up to something because there were some other items and I don't really know what was going on. So we're just going to have to keep an eye out for him. While we were taking a look at that clip, I switched out my skin for this new one, which I'll be using on this server. And for the design, I went with something that was sort of like a fantasy forest ranger sort of design. Medieval kind of look that will fit in with what this build is ultimately going to come out to be. So I think it came out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. And this is what we'll be using over here on the server. Before the town hall meeting, one item that I needed to prepare was a banner to represent my base. And so the banner that I came up with is this design here, which I really, really like. It took me a little bit, went through a few iterations to try to get the best combination of colors. And what we have here is this blue background with a center green dot, and it represents the base. So we have the blue for the water around it, and then we have the center island here, which is what we have going this spot right here. And what we'll do is incorporate these colors into the build as we're going through. And I think it's going to be really good to have. So that is what we have. It's on our portal now. It's also on the portal in the Nether. So that way we can know this is our base and everyone else will be able to see that too. But enough about future plans and things that we've been working on and getting different designs ready. What I want to do today is actually build a storage room in this space that we are in right here. And I've come up with a design that I'm really excited to give a try to, but it's going to require a lot of different types of resources. So we need to get started with gathering those up. The other thing that I want to try to do is a second project in the shopping district, but we're going to have to wait and see if there is enough time in this episode to do it. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until next time. But let's get started with getting the resources for our storage room. One of the resources that we are going to need a lot of is wood, because there's going to be a lot of chests in this storage room and we don't have a lot of wood right now. So the fastest way to get a bunch of wood is to do spruce, and I went out and collected a few saplings to get us started with. So I'm going to place these down. We're going to get them grown up, and then as we get more trees, we will get more saplings and we'll plant them along here. The other one that we're going to need a lot of is dark oak. And this is not going to be used for the chest. This is going to be actually used for the building materials. I've been working on the trees and I realized that the other item that we're going to need is a bunch of copper blocks. So I'm going to get these broken down so that way we can get them smelted up while I'm working on the trees. I've finished collecting all of the resources that we need for this build, and there is a range of different types of blocks that we are going to be using outside of the normal ones that I've used in the past. So I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to turn out. I've got everything here except for some more stone, which I ran out of shulker boxes for, but we have plenty in the chest over here, so that's not going to be an issue. I think now, though, is the time to get this started. So let's get the time lapse going. I've finished getting this storage room all built up, and we are going to be able to store a lot of different items in here. You can see here I've started filling in the chest on either side, and I've already started moving the items from the chest that we have down here. And I was able to get most of the ones that were kind of the bulk storage. So we've got stone going in over here. We've got dirt and grass over here. This one has the wood and some other items. The ones that remain in these chests are ones that I'm going to have to plan out a little bit more closely to make sure that they get into spots where I'll be able to see them better or know where they are. It's going to take just a little bit more organizational work to get them into place. But I really like how adding in the crying obsidian adds a lot of light into the build, and so that you're able to see it all the way around without having to kind of have different types of light sources involved. There are still a few areas that I think different mobs are able to spawn in, and I'll need to go through and figure out where those are so that we don't have any creepers or zombies falling into our storage room and creating chaos and destruction. Out here on this side, you can see we've got these entrances for going into the storage room. And right now, there's not anything out here. What I want to do in this area is have a little bit of some planning to go into whether I'll use a staircase or something more efficient like water elevators. And that's something that we'll need to come up with at a different time. But I'm running out of time for this episode, so we won't be able to get this built in today. In this flat area, we are going to eventually be building up the structure that's going to go on top of this island. And this is going to be the base layer right here. You can see we've got a creeper because this spot is not very lit up at all. And we'll just have to be careful because we don't want him to come over and create any problems. Oh, look, there's another creeper. Boy, I'm going to have to light up this area a lot more so that it doesn't get destroyed. Let's go down here. I think that this storage room is going to have plenty of space for me to put all of the items that I collect. In between episodes, I'll go through and start labeling all of the different chests so I know where everything is going to go. And I'll finally get the rest of these items put away. But I want to make sure that I can plan them out, and I just don't have time before this episode needs to go up to be able to do that. So that'll be something that I'll do between this episode and the next one. But I think that this is going to be a good storage room to use. I'm very happy with how it turned out and excited to get it all going and then getting started on the structure above. That's going to do it for today's episode. I ran out of time and wasn't able to get the shopping district build started that I wanted to do, but we will do that in the next episode as well. I definitely want to get that done, and we'll probably start with that. But with this storage room built, we now have space for all of the items to go, and we'll be able to get started with some of the other projects in this area. I am super excited for this series. We've got a lot of work still to do and a lot of more exciting projects to come. But for today, thank you so much for joining me. It's been great having you here. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see you later.